neighborhood yesterday and it looked great. It's about there 10 minutes later.
We're being live streamed, but
Probably. So I told him that ship was.
there.
What do you use? I don't use electric.
We all good? Okay, I'm going to call the May 21st Board of Commissioner meeting to order. Today, we're going to start out with a prayer by Commissioner Sartella, followed by the pledge by Commissioner Heberlein.
Dear Heavenly Father, we thank you for the opportunity to be together in a free country. And we ask that you would be with us during our meeting. Allow us to make mindful decisions for our friends and neighbors that we serve. We're grateful for the weather, Lord, and we ask that you allow our farmers to get their crops in the ground and to have a fruitful growing season. And we're especially grateful for the armed forces members that we have in our community and for all those that served. And we know it was Armed Forces Weekend this past weekend, and we just want to remember everybody that serves and express our gratitude for them. In your son's most precious name we pray. Amen.
Amen. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, everyone. Leslie, roll call, please.
District 1 Chairman John Block,
Present.
District 2 Commissioner Roger Ballard, District 3 Commissioner Gary Heberlein,
Yes.
District 4 Commissioner Bill Sarkella,
Here.
District 5 Commissioner Christine Lee, here, District 6 Commissioner Evans Ehart,
Here.
and District 7 Commissioner John Moody is absent.
Thank you, Leslie.
You're welcome.
Today, we have one addition to our agenda. It's the salmon colored sheet for an amended motion FA 031-24. At this time, we'll entertain a motion to adopt our agenda with the amendment.
So moved. Support.
I have a motion from Commissioner Ballard, supported by Commissioner Sarkella, to adopt the agenda with one amendment. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor, signal by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion is carried. Agenda is adopted. At this time, if there are no deletions or corrections to our May 7th meeting minutes, I'll entertain a motion to approve.
Mr. Chairman, I approve our May 7th, 2024 meeting minutes.
I have a motion from Commissioner Heberlein, supported by Commissioner Ehart, to adopt the meeting minutes from May 7th as printed. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor signal by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion is carried. You received your correspondence from Jody through email the other day. We're going to move into commissioner reports, so we will start with Commissioner Ehart.
My township meetings in 2 days. And yeah, I had nothing in between now and last meeting, but committees.
Okay, thank you, Evans. The Village of Deckerville invited me to a town hall meeting that they had last May 15th, which was last Wednesday, related to fire service. The increased costs of fire gear, fire trucks, and things related to that has caused the village to need to increase revenue to run the fire department. So they are looking to put 6 mills on the ballot in Deckerville for fire service this year. So that's obviously a substantial increase in taxation. So they held the meeting. They had fire officials there to answer questions so public could get answers that they needed. I believe that they're intending to hold another meeting similar to this as the election nears, so that people have questions, they can get answers. But some of the highlights were, the turnout gear that firefighters wear, that stuff now needs to be replaced every 10 years. The cost of that's doubled. A fire truck went from being about $500,000 to just shy of $1 million. So these are some pretty exorbitant costs that are coming along. And as we all know, liability is a huge concern in those areas. And so they're trying to protect themselves, but it's getting awful expensive to do so. So that's all I have. Christine?
I was at Elmwood Township meeting and they talked about the different audits that they were going through. Their cemetery, they've been having trouble with dirt bikes, motorcycles and four-wheelers cutting through and going around and around. They also talked about sending their new clerks to training. And they also said that they got different parcels of land that the township owns. And they were thinking of maybe seeing how much they are worth and whatever, because they do not have a township hall. And that's what they would like to do in the future. So they're trying to see which way to go on that. And that's it.
Okay, thank you, Christine. Bill?
Port Sanilac was discussing their short-term rental zoning. And they authorized their bond for their water supply. They're moving forward with that. And of course, there's continued discussion with their CFA Fire Department there as well. Bridgehampton entertained a long going quote and is purchasing some payroll software, and they had some their trustees attend the MTA conference, so they were reporting on that as well. Washington had a public hearing prior to their meeting over a liquor license at the what we know as the drive-in, and they declined to allow them to pursue that. And they're looking at ditch improvement there along with some roads being brined. Their roads already got brined in Washington Township. Carsonville, their water project is moving forward, and they're looking at meter pits and their curb stops. A lot of that historic stuff that's been in the village was never really recorded, so they're having a lot of fun trying to find everything. But their water tower should be up fairly soon, they're talking about. And then Sand Lake Township, they have a Townsend Road water project, so they took over the water line coming out of Lexington, so they're handling all the costs and overseeing everything in regards to water in Lexington Township as well as Sand Lake Township, and then Port Sand Lake, of course, hopes to be hooked up there as well fairly soon. And they have a planning commission vacancy, and then also their discussion at the end of their meeting was also in regards to CFA. That's all I have.
Thank you, Bill. Gary?
The only thing I have is, since our last meeting is the Moretown Township, and the only thing that really come out of that, the report is the people that do their lawn mowing service, that's been sold out by a new company owns that. So that's the shortest my report's ever been.
Thank you, Gary. Roger?
Last night I attended Lamont Township meeting. Really the only business taken care of other than normal bill paying and whatnot was an agreement with the road commission to clean out 1,000 feet of ditch on Arnold Road, which they think will alleviate a lot of water laying in the road. It's gotten pretty bad. So that's it.
All right, very good. I appreciate everyone's commissioner reports. Nathan is clearly not here with us today for his administrator report. He is attending a conference for the rest of this week related to, I think it's all the administrators from the state get to go. So hopefully he'll come back with some good information for us from that. That will move us into public comments pertaining to today's agenda. Are there any public comments pertaining to the agenda today? Seeing none, we will move on. At this time, we're going to have a presentation from Aaron Carlson from Sandusky High School related to the Veteran Remembrance Monument Project. So Aaron?
And I can bring Josh.
Absolutely. Welcome. Good to have you here.
Josh Robinson from the Community Foundation as well, so. To let him tag along as well. We're just here to update you on kind of where we stand right now with the monument project. We've talked about it in the past, and we've kind of come to the conclusion after meeting with Nathan and some of the local veteran groups. We've met in here probably 5 or 6 times, trying to figure out the best plan to moving forward. Everyone remembers
Yes.
the original part, right?
Yep.
So what we've come up with is a 4-paneled black granite monument that will enable us to sandblast all of the names of the veterans and armed forces members that we have on the plaques currently. So we have about 550 plaques in the shed out here. We're going to take all of those names, put them on the monument, which will allow us for an additional 400 names spots to be purchased by anyone now or in the future that would like to have their name on that monument as well. So we're hoping that this will help alleviate a lot of the manpower that goes into moving each of those plaques out, and will eliminate us having to fix plaques that get broken. And moving forward, we think it'll just be a nice display to.
We're also out of plaque locations. So as more people want names on it, there's nowhere to put the plaque.
Right. I think the solution you guys came up with is very, very good.
You guys have a picture of it, correct?
Yeah.
I do have another one. You don't have yours, but. So what we're proposing is right out in front of these windows is the current monument. The other side of the sidewalk where we would like to put the new monument. It will be slightly smaller than this one. But similar design so that I think it will look visually appealing and it won't take away from too much of the courthouse either.
Aaron, Josh, the last meeting I was in with you guys, you were talking about giving of plastic back to the
Correct.
veterans. Is that right?
And that's still our plan. We haven't really set down exactly how we're going to give those back to the families. But kind of what I'm envisioning is a few days, weeks where we bring the plaques out, announce to the public. If you would like to come and obtain your family member's plaque, we would love to give that back to you. And then any that we have left after some kind of mass distribution, then we would contact those family members and set up a time to meet with them to return those plaques.
If I remember right, there was a cost to get a plaque in the past.
Correct.
So if the new names we put on, is that gonna be a cost? Also?
Correct.
Right, okay.
And we're going to keep it the same. Right now it's $200
Mhm.
for the recognition. And the reason we're doing that is because we're guessing that cost will just continue to rise. And we will only bring the monument company in once a year to add the names all at once at the end of each year. So if someone were to purchase it, let's say in March, we might not put it on for 5 or 6 months past that, depending on what we decide of when we
Flags,
add it.
how are you gonna accommodate that? I'm trying to.
Yep, no, this is
push
good. It's
information to
perfect.
everybody
Yeah,
here. Yeah.
exactly. We do plan to put all of the flags up that we still have. We would like to keep that display. Because we think that's very visually important and I think it,
You're gonna lose some out front, right?
yes.
Where they-
We believe that. We believe we will lose some. We'll see what happens after the whole project is done, but Nick has agreed to work with us and get as many
Sure.
back as we can and add some where we have some spots that are, where they're broken or we lost a pole in the ground. So we do have a plan once everything is done to cover the lawn with flags and we'll continue to put those up for each of the holidays. So our plan moving forward is we do have to raise money for this new monument because we don't have enough money in the flag account to purchase a whole new monument. The monument itself will cost about $36,000. And then any of the cement and footing benches that we put around it, we're estimating about 50,000. So this is where the community foundation comes into play. Josh has designed a fundraising website for us. And we're also allowing people to send check to the school's flags account if they would like to make a donation for that monument. This is the actual website, but this isn't what it looks like when you go to the website. It's just when I hit print. But we do have the pictures of the monument, a little description of the flags project, and then a place for people to donate if they would like.
Aaron, do you guys have a projected timeline on your fundraising and then completion of the project? Because it's gonna take some time to fundraise that level of money. So are we talking a year, 2 years?
I would love to have it done by the end of the year, but I know that maybe is.
By the end of the summer.
Yeah,
Got it. Okay, so you got a fundraising kind of
Well,
timeline.
that's our goal.
Got it.
maybe. Maybe a little outrageous, but we don't think so. We're just going to shoot for.
You're ambitious. There's nothing wrong with that.
So the existing names, like I have one for my dad.
Yes,
I'll pay again to get it
No,
put on the monument.
no.
Okay, but I can make a donation.
you could, yes.
Anyways, okay.
Yep,
We'll
but
appreciate
yes,
it.
Yeah.
yes,
sure,
yes.
sure.
But yeah, we would not ask for any extra funds from anyone that already has a plaque.
When we can donate anytime, just
Yes.
specify for the new monument.
Yep, if you
Okay.
send a check to the school, just put
30,000.
flags in. Right.
Yeah.
How much?
30,000.
Yeah, okay.
If you do one for
Check with my accountant at home.
Bill's one for 5.
Is he?
Well, he's on that committee, yeah.
Oh, okay. Wow.
And-
$5.
I know Mr. Levine has graciously agreed to run a story for us
Good.
in the newspaper.
That's his
announcing.
job.
Well, I mean,
Good.
we didn't have to pay for it. Right, so,
Aaron and Josh,
that
this
will
is
be up
great.
tomorrow.
Yeah,
Thank you.
good.
no, and thank you
Yeah.
for your support
Good luck.
too. I hope
I'm sure you won't have any problem.
not. But
I think that this community supports veterans and things related to
Yeah.
that very well. And I think it's fantastic that we do these things. And I'm glad to hear that the flags will be back as robust as they can be. We're gonna lose some. I get comments all the time about how fantastic it looks when they're up. And so it's good that we do this for the community.
And the kids love putting the flags up. The plaques are what
Yeah,
very labor intensive. So when they found out like, we're still putting the flags up, they want to do that.
Yep.
Very much so.
Great.
And we do plan to put them up this weekend.
Okay.
We're hoping, we're going to wait to put them up until Saturday morning, so hoping that there's not a lot of construction going on. We were a little worried about them being dusty. But we're going to try to put them up Saturday morning and then take them down Monday night. Hopefully there isn't a ton of construction going on at that time. So we'll just do the flags during Memorial right now.
I got asked many times, and the flags were up and the flags out, and I'd go up and engage in conversation just to see where they were from, and I'd say about half the time they were out of state and from here, but just took time to come.
Yeah.
It was neat, so.
It's very good.
Yep.
Yeah. So it's a good way for us to connect with the kids too and bring the kids in on the conversation.
Right.
The new monument will also let people, like scratch their name
Oh, like
on a piece of paper, like a
Yep.
Vietnam Wall.
Yeah.
So that'll be really cool. And it lets us have more names on it. We can't put any more plaques out.
Yeah.
Very good.
Yeah, I think it's a good plan. Does anybody have any questions for?
Anything you want to reveal about funding at this time? About funding at this time?
We have one donation from Mrs. Carlson.
Oh.
Okay.
That's
Other
good
than
leader,
that,
that's good
foundation,
leadership.
anything else that you're aware of at
No,
this point in time?
no, nothing else that,
We were honestly we were waiting until we presented to you to make sure that we're ready to go and then we'll put it out there.
yeah, we'll keep having updates too, and I'm sure Bill will have updates for you guys.
And you might find out a concrete company might donate the work for
Right,
the foundation.
right.
If we're lucky.
Do we need to make a motion approving this just for?
It's on our agenda later.
Huh?
It's on our agenda.
Okay, I didn't flip the page yet.
All right.
Thank
Well,
you.
reach out if you need anything.
All right.
Yeah,
Okay,
thank you
thank
for
you.
being here today and thank you for what you're doing for the community.
Thank you.
Okay, that will conclude that presentation. At this time, we have our 2023 Drug Task Force Annual Report by Jim Johnson. Jim, welcome. It's good to see you.
Thank you. Reference back to that, one of the neatest things that I saw was the monuments and sometimes in the cemeteries for the military, they use QR codes. They allowed the families to download the information and you would QR code the marker and it would tell you the history of the officer and where they served with that. It was really, really neat. That was a better topic than this one. Please don't think that I'm gonna be rude. I'm just gonna read from my sheet and if you have some questions, so it's just page and a half. Everyone got a copy of the year-end report here 2 weeks ago. Statistics are down from the previous years. Much of this is related to the changes in staff levels and experience at DTF and all the local law enforcement as a whole in 2023. It should be noted and not seen as a downturn in suspected illegal drugs in and of itself. Meth still appears to be the main choice of illegal drug users. We lost use of canine after January 28th, 2023, due to a non-work related incident with a handler. The Drug Task Force Board majority felt it best not to bring the canine back for the remainder of 2023. Canine unit worked the night shift. When they went back to work at the sheriff's office, we were able to utilize in 11 months the dog twice for the drug unit. That was the availability of the dog and when we could do that. Some of that's regulated by traffic stops, not being able to hold a car more than the amount of time that it would take to write a ticket unless there was other probable cause or there were warrants on the people that were in the vehicle. New sergeant and deputy were transferred to the drug unit in November of 2022. So more than half my staff was 2 months or less in experience than the one had been at the drug unit previously. This contributed to a large learning curve as well. In August of 23, we lost a DTF deputy that went into private sector work. So we went down to 2 deputies and a sergeant at the drug unit, from a total of 5 at one time down to 3. Incoming phone tips and other agency tips and interaction has also been down. Lower staffing down effect was an event, and most evident across the board through all law enforcement and satellite planning. Enforcement on traffic stops, I was mentioning this, for motor vehicles and searching for drug violations can also cause issue where there was no canine available at the time of the stop. Delays in wait for canine can no longer be the norm for any time period past the routine time to issue a citation. It was important for law enforcement to stay within the restraints of the current laws and that we change to adapt to those court rulings. Training also in 2023 not only involves the DTF officers taking specialized courses on drug-related trends and investigation, but continuing their updates for the requirements from the sheriff's office where they are members. A lot of the guys that come over and gals are specialized in certain aspects, whether it's drone, accident re-investigations, and they still have to continue those trainings. So we not have more training, we are less than the sheriff's office, we end up having more. The counseling services provided by DTF Millage for the 7 school systems continue to receive positive feedback with the substance use service provider Crystal Bell. That's through the Satellite County Health Department. Team funding and education is continuing. Most of the agencies with team, it's not DARE anymore, it's team. It's a state trained facility out of the Michigan State Police in Lansing. Our last schools that we went to for DARE, closest was Tennessee and Pennsylvania. State of Michigan does not provide that training anymore. The departments are reimbursed twice a year, usually the first half of the school year and the second half. So the budget gets split up between fiscal years for the county. Most of the departments are doing it in the latter half. So January to June of this year is when most of that billing will come in and payments will be made. Looking at 2024, we are currently retraining our canine. The canine officer resigned from the sheriff's office. The canine was in a kennel for a period of 13 days, which was 13 too many. The dog needs to work and it needs to work every day. We have a female deputy, Jennifer Diat from the sheriff's office has offered to take the training. She will be doing that on her off days from the scheduling at the sheriff's office. I do not yet know whether that means when the training's done, if it works, she'll be coming to the drug unit or whether she'll be retained at the sheriff's office due to their staffing shortages. And I think I said before, without the dog with us to make the stop, it's difficult at best. But I do have some positive feedback. We have rather than sending the canine and a trainer, and we're in Pennsylvania where the dog came from. We have a sergeant at the Fort York Police Department that does canine training. She lives just in St. Clair County. We're going to try that. It's a little bit less expensive. And we're not going to lose the use of the second deputy at our office. If Deputy Dion had to go to Pennsylvania, we'd have to send one of our 2 deputies back over to the sheriff's department during that 6 weeks of training. So we're hoping that this works. Sergeant from Port Huron Police Department has met with the dog and the new handler, and she's got good information that things will work out. So at some point, I'll probably be bringing back a financial request to transfer some money. I went ahead and started that. I don't know whether I'm going to have to pay by a week or a month with St. Clair County's handler from Port Huron PD. That may be between $3,500 and $5,000. In Pennsylvania, the cost was $7,200. And that's also because they put up the housing for the handler and the canine. Trying to take some proactive measures, working with the sergeant at the drug unit, Sergeant Armstrong's diligently trying to do the best with what he has to work with. We're going to try to make sure that the officers, I can go to the meetings with the townships and the cities. They don't want to listen to an administrator talk. They don't want to listen to the chief talk. They want to listen to the boots on the ground. They want to hear from the officers that are actually out working the streets to answer their questions. We're going to try to get into each and every village, city, township, and specialty organizations to try to get the word out on what the guys are trying to do and gals. And let them know that. We're going to, the Facebook page that I created and I utilized somewhat has gotten set off to the side burner, and I think we're gonna go with the sheriff's office page and try to infiltrate our information over there. Part of what's happened over the last year is rather than publishing a story, which the papers would probably say they haven't gotten a lot of feedback on either, we're trying to turn people that we arrest over to get a little higher up the ladder. And if we publish their names in the paper, obviously that doesn't work well in order to try to turn something into a bigger fish. We're going to continue to support the substance use programs at the school and the team programs. Personally, I think they've been extremely beneficial. The county as a whole gets a really good feedback from that, and it's our opportunity to be seen with the kids in probably the best light. Commissioner Lee would tell you that the team-sponsored track meet that we have is really a positive time for law enforcement. We had a really good turnout by all the departments that have team officers in order to interact with the kids. And I think that went over extremely well. The millage is purchased and placed at the sheriff's office. The shot boxes that you approved there, the board of commissioners, the simunition and the blue simunition guns have come in. We have the helmets, all the equipment is there to be utilized by any local law enforcement in the county. Probably would let that go to our bordering counties if they needed to use that. So that is all in place. The chiefs are all aware of that, and that was funded through money from the drug task force millage. And last, I just want to say that I'm personally sincerely grateful for the support shown to me by the board of commissioners, the county administrator, and the staff. Last year was an extremely difficult year for me. I've got 48 years in next month in law enforcement, and I've never found myself subjected to the turmoil that came about last year. And sometimes anything in government, we're always going to encounter problems. But when your answer to the problem is to create more of a problem, it became very difficult. And please continue to support the work towards these goals from the drug task force. The community we serve is worth nothing less than our best efforts. Okay, if anybody's got any questions, be happy to answer them.
Any questions
Or
for Jim?
find the answers.
Jim, I was looking at your bar charts, and other than meth, they were lower than 2022. Is there a reason for that? Which is a good thing, I guess, right?
If you put the staff that I had in hand for most of the year, it's very difficult in a rural county to do surveillance and law enforcement and drugs. It's like a catch and kill to go down to St. Clair County, into the Port Huron Southern District, or go into the city of Flint. And it's so difficult. Up here, your neighbors know what you're doing when you drive down a side road. I can go into some of the trailer parks up here and we can't go through a park without them knowing that we're there.
Facebook doesn't help you. No, but I mean, they see you and they put it on Facebook.
Yeah,
They're coming.
they drive around behind and get the plates off of our vehicles and we switch the plates out, but they have 24 hours to when they're not working, to do nothing but. But meth is our biggest problem. We're getting fentanyl, and just as a side story, it was, my son's a anesthetist and he's down in Florida, but he called, when they do surgery, they do blood tests on their patients beforehand. And when they find drugs, they ask them about the drug problems. So my son isn't interested in whether they're doing something illegal. He's interested so he doesn't feed them the chemicals that are going to kill them. So he talked to a young lady that was 36, and our average is in between 35 and 45 years of age, which 20 years ago, you would never guess that age bracket. And he said that, you know, do you use heroin? We found heroin in your blood. And she said, I don't use heroin. She said, somebody must have spiked my meth that I use. And he was just flabbergasted, but that's more reality than not. Like it was okay to use meth, but not, I don't use heroin. So the issues are really when in a rural county like ours, they're not gonna go away. The way that marijuana was downgraded, I can object to that all I want. I could think that it should be differently, but that's what we have to work with. And we have to abide by the courts. It's difficult for rehab in the jails. It's difficult for the courts, the prosecutor's office, and it's difficult for the judges. And most of our people that are using meth are openly willing to talk about their problem. And they will tell you that the day they get out of jail, they're going to use meth again. So it's a very difficult drug for us to come up with the answers. And I think that's part of why the team program and the counseling services in school are a place to try to help prevent some of that. Never come up with the numbers, but if it's one, and if it's your family member, that's one person that maybe got helped.
Very good. Any other questions for Jim? Seeing none, Jim, we appreciate you being here today.
Thank you very much.
And we appreciate your steady hand directing the
Yeah.
drug task force.
I think the rotor got a little damaged, but
Thanks, Jim.
Thanks.
Okay, that will conclude presentations. So that's going to move us directly into interviews. And our first interview is for community mental health. Anna Lopez Dorman, you here today?
Yes, I am.
Anna, welcome. If you come up to the podium, tell us a little bit about yourself. We appreciate you being here today.
Oh, thank you. I have a resume if you're interested.
Hey,
Thank you.
Oops. There you go. Thank you. Yes. So I'm Anna Lopez. I currently live in Moore Township. Nice to.
Yeah, I know where you live.
Yeah, I'm
Thank you.
member of the community of Snowbird. I also work in a school district. I work for Carsonville Port Sand Lake Schools. This is my 23rd year there. Prior to that, I worked here at Sand Lake County Juvenile Court. I've been in this court many times with Judge Welty back in the late 90s. I saw an opportunity to work with community mental health. I work with them at school. I'm familiar with several of their staff members, several of their counselors where we have shared students. So I had an opportunity to apply and I thought I would give it a go. So that's why I'm here.
Very good. Does anybody have any questions for Anna?
Great looking resume.
Yeah.
Oh, thank you.
Yes, I would agree. This is an excellent looking resume. And first thing that jumped out me, I consistently meet deadlines.
Well, the state needs me. Maybe state deadlines.
No questions for Anna? Okay, we appreciate you being here. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, I believe that concludes interviews. So that's going to move us directly into appointments to standing committees. And the first appointment is for community mental health for a partial 3-year term expiring 3/31/2026. We have one applicant, Anna Lopez Dorman. I'll entertain a motion to approve.
so
Support.
I have a motion from Commissioner Ballard, supported by Commissioner Heberlein, to make that appointment expiring 3/31/2026. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor signal by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Congratulations, you are appointed.
Thank you.
I see no need for county commissioner appointments to boards or county chair appointments, so we're going to move directly into general resolutions. And that is going to start out with resolution imposing 2024 summer property tax levy pursuant to Public Act 357 of 2004 and notice of certification of Sand Lake County allocated tax rate levy. Bill, would you read that one for us?
Whereas Sand Lake County is authorized under the General Property Tax Act, Public Act 206 of 1893 as amended to levy and collect county allocated property taxes, and whereas the general property tax has been amended by Public Act 357 of 2004, being MCL 211.44A to require all Michigan counties to impose a summer property tax levy the total number of mills allocated to the county are to be levied and collected as a summer property tax beginning in 2007. Now therefore be it resolved that pursuant to Public Act 357 of 2004, Sand Lake County's allocated mills shall be levied and collected on July 1st, 2024 at the rate allocated after application of the Headley millage reduction fraction or 4.0473 mills. And be it further resolved that the treasurer that collect the state education tax in Sand Lake County are directed to account for and deliver the total county allocated mills collected for 2024 in accordance with the provisions of Public Act 357 of 2004. And be it further resolved that this resolution constitutes certification of levy of the county allocated mills and authorized collection of the county allocated mills on July 1st, 2024 at the rate allocated after application of the Headley millage reduction fraction or 4.0473 mills, and be it further resolved that the county treasurer shall deliver a copy of this resolution by first-class mail to the treasurers that collect the state education tax.
Support.
I have a resolution offered by Commissioner Sarcella, supported by Commissioner Lee. Is there discussion? Hearing none, Leslie, roll call, please.
Commissioner Sarcella,
Yes.
Commissioner Lee,
Yes.
Commissioner Ballard,
Yes.
Commissioner Ehart.
Yes.
Commissioner Block
Yes.
and Commissioner Heberlin.
Yes.
Resolution is carried. Thank you, Leslie.
You're welcome.
That will conclude resolutions, and that's going to move us into committee reports, and we're going to start with Commissioner Ballard.
Last Monday, I attended the DTF meeting. Didn't really talk about any more than what Jim brought up. I attended CMH Program Committee last Tuesday, approved reports. We had some discussion. They're kind of talking about possibly buying a food service truck type vehicle or trailer for their coffee operation that visits courthouse here a couple times a month. So they can get out into community events. It's just in the early talking stages. There's some people for it, some against. So we'll see how that pans out. Parks last Wednesday, I attended a Cass River Greenway meeting in Vassar. They kind of oversee the Cass River Water Trail, which we hope to be a part of the whole trail someday with our kayak launch in Evergreen. And I updated the folks on that project. Cass City does not have a launch, and there's some talk of some work and projects in the works at the Carroll Dam, which is kind of a deterrent for making that whole passageway through there. Ultimately, you would be able to go from Evergreen to Saginaw Bay on the Cass River, which is about 38 miles of river travel.
There's a dam on the Cass River in Carroll?
Yeah, it's
Okay.
not in real good shape. They're in the early stages of ownership and who's gonna, take care of it.
Who's going to pay the big bill? The big
Yeah.
bill?
Yeah, I don't think it's anything like the dams that failed here a couple years ago, but regardless, there is one there. So, I think that was about it.
Okay, thank you, Roger.
Yep.
Gary?
We haven't had a committee meeting since the last meeting.
All right,
Report.
Easy Street. Bill?
Oh, I'm next, though, sorry. Couple ones, transportation, discussion there about new tires versus retreads. So the new tires are proving to be about 20,000 miles more than the retreads did, even though retreads were less money in the initial factor. They also did some transportation for CMH Senior Prom. So that's a big event that, the kids all get to participate in. And then we're discussing, providing transportation for the Heartlands over in Marlette. So there's also been some, buses going over there and moving folks around for their needs. And then pension had their meeting last week. We approved some alternative investments, and we're keeping up with the plan's overall goal of 7%. And the folks involved with managing that, the attorneys and the plan advisor, do an excellent job. So we're in real good shape there. That's all I have.
Thank you, Bill. Christine?
I was at the Council on Aging on Monday, and Roger, your District 2, one of your members moved out of the district, and Moody needs to appoint somebody for his district. We're short 2 members on that board. Senior
What was that one again?
District 2 and District 7 for the Council on Aging. Senior fair is set for Friday, June 28th at Snuskey School between 10 and 2 p.m. Then I was at the Child Abuse Prevention and Baby Pantries has new hours. They're going to go on Mondays now from 10 to 2 on the second Monday of the month. And on the fourth Monday of the month, they're going to go from 2 to 6. But because of Memorial Day, they will go on that Tuesday. And then I had the health department and they're talking about the Maple Valley splitting up the building to do it in 2 to 3 different phases. They're still waiting on the study. They're looking at a temporary sign made out of canvas to put out in front so that people know that's gonna be their building there. And that is it.
Great, thank you, Christine. Gary and I have our county planning commission meeting tonight. That's the only committee that I have going. Evans?
At HDC last week, they had their annual staff thank you awards banquet. And they also, the new vice chair and chair had all the new committee assignments, and I'm the chair of I'm the first chair of the bylaw committee, my first chair position, so see how that goes. And but besides that, nothing new.
Good, very good. Thank you, Evans. Appreciate everyone's committee reports. Chair of the bylaw committee, it's probably the most powerful position on the whole thing, because bylaws dictate everything.
Yeah, we'll see.
Don't let that power go to your head.
Yeah.
Well, I thought I missed a meeting because I looked at the thing.
We're not changing the size of the door.
I'm like, how am I a chair? I'm like, where did I miss the meeting, the vote on that?
Very good. I appreciate everyone's reports. That will conclude the committee reports. We do have unfinished business, NFA 011, acceptance of the 2023 Drug Task Force Annual Report.
Santa Ana County Board of Commissioners here report as presented.
I'll make a motion to approve.
Support.
That motion was made by Commissioner Sarkellis. Was that support, Roger?
Oh, yeah, sorry.
Okay, so I have a motion by Commissioner Sarkellis, support by Commissioner Ballard to accept the 2023 Drug Task Force Annual Report. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor signal by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion is carried.
Good report, Joe.
Yeah. And that will conclude unfinished business. So we're going to move directly into new business, and that's going to start out with FA 070-24, approval of 2024 current claims.
Santa Ana County Board of Commissioners hereby approves the payment of current claims for 2024 identified on the accounts payable report dated May 14, 2024 for the general bank account in the amount of $215,857.24.
I have a motion from Finance Chairman Sarkella. Is there support?
Support.
I have support from Commissioner Heberlin. Is there discussion? Hearing none, all in favor signal by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion is carried. Moving on to FA 072-24, approval of additional general fund bank account checks charged to April 2024.
Santa Ana County Board of Commissioners hereby approves establishing the following accounts as listed.
Support.
I have a motion from Commissioner Sarkella, support by Commissioner Lee. Is there discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor signal by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion is carried. Leslie, did I jump over FA 071-24?
You just said it wrong. So 071 is what Commissioner Sarkella read,
Okay,
but we are now on 072.
okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
So now we're on FA 072-24, approval of additional general fund bank account checks charged to April 2024.
Santa Ana County Board of Commissioners hereby approves the payment of additional general fund bank account checks charged to April 2024 as follows. $628,394.27 in ACH payments, $1,444,900.75 in checks for a total of $2,073,295.02.
Support.
I have a motion by Finance Chairman Sarkella, support by Commissioner Ballard. Is there discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor signal by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion is carried. Moving on to FA 073-24, adoption of the amended reclassification policy.
Santa Ana County Board of Commissioners hereby adopts the following amended language to the reclassification policy and job description request form as presented.
Support.
I have a motion by Finance Chairman Sarkella, support by Commissioner Lee to adopt the reclassification policy. Is there discussion?
We reviewed this in our last meeting. This is basically a cleanup and
Yeah.
better.
Yeah, and Nathan did a really nice job of adding some very good information to help people really understand the purpose of a reclass. And so that hopefully when we get reclasses in, they're for the correct reasons. It might simplify things for people to understand the process. Is there any further discussion related to the reclassification policy? Hearing none, all those in favor signal by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion is carried. Moving on to FA 074-24, authorization reimbursement of loss of livestock.
Salem Lake County Board of Commissioners hereby authorizes payment for damages for loss of 2 goats pursuant to the Dog Law Act of 1919, Act 339 to Sue Geiger in an amount not to exceed $598.88 with funding from the animal control budget.
Support.
I have a motion from Commissioner Sarcella, support by Commissioner Lee. Is there discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor signal by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion is carried. Moving on to FA 075-24, award and authorization of bid for painting project recycling center.
Salem Lake County Board of Commissioners hereby awards and authorizes Hooper's Painting the bid for the purpose of painting the inside of the recycling center facility, including both walls and ceiling at a cost not to exceed $23,068 with funding from the recycling millage.
Support.
I have a motion from Commissioner Sarcella, support from Commissioner Heberlein. Is there discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor signal by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion is carried. Moving on to FA 076-24, approval of 2022 Homeland Security Grant Program subrecipient funding agreement.
Salem Lake County Board of Commissioners hereby approves the District Health Department number 2, 2022 Homeland Security Grant Program subrecipient agreement and further authorizes the board chairman sign the agreement for immediate approval.
Support.
I have a motion by Commissioner Sarcella, support by Commissioner Lee. Is there discussion?
Is this a continuation every year that we have to? do?
Yes.
Okay.
Any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor signal by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion is carried. Moving on to FA 077-24, approval of drain ledger software and support agreement.
Salem Lake County Board of Commissioners hereby approves the Solid Circle Drain Ledger Software License and Support Agreement for costs not to exceed $19,550 and annual hosting support of $6,200 with funding from the Information Technology Systems budget.
I have a motion by Finance Chairman Sarcella. Is there support?
Support.
Support from Commissioner Lee. Is there discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor signal by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion is carried. Moving on to FA 078-24, authorization of Lexington Park engineering and surveying services.
Salem Lake County Board of Commissioners hereby authorizes an engineering services proposal and agreement with BMJ Engineers and Surveyors Incorporated for Lexington Park at a cost not to exceed $10,500 with funding from the Parks millage.
Support.
I have a motion by Finance Chairman Sarcella, support by Vice Chairman Ballard. Is there discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor signal by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion is carried. Moving on to FA 079-24, award and authorization of bid for Evergreen Park Residence Improvements, Park Commission.
Salem County Board of Commissioners hereby awards and authorizes TDM construction of Cass City low bid at a cost not to exceed $138,532.11, which includes a 15% contingency of $18,069.41. With funding from the Parks millage for the purpose of improvements to the Evergreen Park residence, including a 2-car garage addition, windows and siding.
Support.
I have a motion by Commissioner Sarcella, support by Commissioner Ballard. Is there discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor signal by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion is carried. Moving on to FA 080-24, approval of revised project authorization, Salem Lake Transportation.
Salem County Board of Commissioners hereby approves the revised project authorization fiscal year 2017, fiscal year 2018, fiscal year 2020, section 5339 buses and bus facilities formula program.
Support.
I have a motion by Commissioner Sarcella, support by Commissioner Ehart. Is there discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor signal by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion is carried. Richard, that'll show up in my email box within the next day or two to electronically sign that. Okay, if I have any issues, I'll give you a call.
Okay, sounds great. Thank you.
Moving on to FA 081-24, approval of law enforcement services agreement, Sheriff's Office.
Salem County Board of Commissioners hereby approves a non-expiring agreement for contractual law enforcement services between the Township of Watertown and the Salem Lake County Sheriff's Office and further authorizes the board chairman sign the necessary agreement.
Support. I have a motion by Commissioner Sarcella, support by Commissioner Ehart. Is there any discussion?
This was a topic in our finance meeting the last 2 weeks ago. Do we know when that starts? No big deal. I just wondered.
Yeah, I would assume they probably have a pretty, probably when we approve it here today, it's probably, as long as they got the signature from the township supervisor, it'll be effective.
Yeah.
Is there any further discussion related to the sheriff's office? service agreement? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion is carried. Moving on to FA 082-24, award and authorize a bid to purchase a vehicle, Veterans Affairs.
San Luis County Board of Commissioners hereby awards and authorizes Thompson Chevrolet of Ubly, Michigan, the bid to purchase a 2024 Chevrolet Traverse LS all-wheel drive transportation vehicle at a cost not to exceed $37,608.40 with funding from the Veterans Affairs millage.
I have a motion by Commissioner Sarcella, support by Commissioner Ehart. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion is carried. Moving on to NFA 012-24, acceptance of the amended Brownfield Redevelopment Authority bylaws.
San Luis County Board of Commissioners hereby accepts the following Brownfield Redevelopment Authority bylaws as amended.
Support.
I have a motion by Commissioner Sarcella, support by Commissioner Lee. Is there discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion is carried. Now we have NFA 013-24, acceptance of the Veterans Remembrance Monument Project.
Where'd that one go?
Right there. Keep going. Back.
You want me to read it, Bill? You might have it read before I get to it.
It's on the back side of
Yeah.
14.
I've got it. Snuck one in here. Jody keeps us on our toes. The San Luis County Board of Commissioners hereby accepts the Veteran Remembrance Monument Project.
Support. I have a motion
You
by,
could have read it.
I know.
I have a motion by Commissioner Sarcella, support by Commissioner Ballard. That was you, Roger, right?
Yep.
Okay. Motion by Sarcella, support by Ballard for the acceptance of the Veteran Remembrance Monument. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion is carried. Now we're going to move on to the salmon colored sheet for our add-on. And we got to modify this add-on. These numbers need to be adjusted. So the first number where it says Santoro Services LLC in the amount of $380,772, that's correct. But the number for Ventura LLC and the amount of it reads $262,615. That number needs to be adjusted to $315,725. And that will change the bottom number from $643,387 to $696,497.
696, what?
$497.
447. What the math, 447.
It came to 497 after we added it up again.
Okay.
That'll make it covered. And those are the only changes to be made. So at this time, I'd entertain a motion on FA 031-24.
San Luis County Board of Commissioners hereby awards and authorizes the bids to Santora Services LLC in the amount of $380,772 and Ventura LLC in the amount of $315,725 for the purpose of the Evergreen Park MDNR grant TF 22-0179 improvement project at a cost not to exceed $696,497 with funding from the Parks millage.
I have a motion by Commissioner Sarcella. Is there support or support by Commissioner Ballard? And Roger, this was an increase in cost on the putt-putt course. Is that
Correct.
okay?
Yeah.
Is there any further discussion related to FA 031-24? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion is carried. Okay, that will conclude new business. At this time, I will call for general public comments. Are there any general public comments today? Seeing none, there's no need for closed session. So there's no need for approval of closed session minutes. Before we adjourn, I want to remind every commissioner that our administrator evaluation sheets would have been in your mailbox today. I need those filled out and given back to me at our June 4th meeting. So everybody just remember, Bill's already got his done and back. Make sure you get those completed and get those back and we'll get that taken care of. If there's nothing further to come before the Board of Commissioners, I'll entertain a motion to adjourn at 1:54.
Move.
Support. I have a motion and support to adjourn. All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Hi.
Aye.
We are adjourned.